What's up and welcome to the video. So I think a couple weeks ago we made our review over the Apple Watch Ultra 2, and in today's video we're going to talk about the Series 9. Now in that mentioned video we talked about how there's not a lot that changed between Ultra 1 and Ultra 2, and guess what? The same kind of holds true between Series 8 and Series 9, but at the very least Series 9 comes in pink, and after using it for a little bit, yes, I would definitely rock a pink Apple Watch, especially if it came with a matching pink iPhone 15 Pro, but I'm still kind of disappointed in that area. But let's get into it. Let's talk Watch Series 9. Now I'm trying to think back to last year, whenever Series 8 launched. I feel like I was watching that keynote and I was hoping that they were going to finally confirm the leaks that I had seen online of there being a boxier Apple Watch. I'm not talking about the Ultra, I'm just talking about the regular 41 and 45 millimeter, the aluminum and the stainless steel, switching from some of the softer round edges to a little bit of a boxier design. I thought it looked really, really good. It didn't happen with Series 8, so I was kind of hoping it would happen with Series 9, but as I was watching the keynote, there wasn't a whole lot different this year. Apple put a lot of emphasis on the S9 SIP that's inside this watch, same one as the Ultra, and even more emphasis on watchOS 10. Now, whenever you're looking at the watch externally, there's not any new health sensors. There's still a plethora of them. It's still a very capable watch, but no new health sensors this year. And as far as design goes, you're not going to be able to tell Series 8 apart from Series 9 unless you have this brand new pink color. Now the S9 SIP, it does enable some cool features. There's a brighter display here. Actually, the display is twice as bright now this year, up to 2000 nits peak max brightness compared to 1000 last year, which is great. It's going to help with things like outdoor visibility. The S9 SIP has great performance, it has really good battery life, and it's going to enable other cool features like precision finding as long as you have a new iPhone as well. But really, Apple's big focus here was improving the internal processing, improving the watch in some slight areas, and really emphasizing kind of remapping watchOS and how you interact with your watch as a whole. So whenever you take a look at Series 9 and you compare it to Series 8, it's very much a refresh compared to a redesign. So while we're still talking about the concept of refreshes, right? I'm sure you guys have seen those memes on the internet, you know, the ones I'm talking about, where they make fun of how difficult it is to tell the difference between last year's iPhone and this year's iPhone. I feel like that meme might actually be more applicable. I'm not saying it's not applicable to the iPhones, but I'm just saying it's probably more applicable to the Apple Watch. At least, actually, I was gonna say it's not applicable to the Ultra, but it's also applicable to the Ultra. So we'll leave it just across the whole entire line. I feel like there are a lot of people that are falling into that camp of they probably have Series 7 and they were waiting to see what 8 was gonna bring and see if it was going to be worth it. And they were like, nah, I'll wait for 9. And then 9 came out and they're just like, okay, what do I do now? And they're probably still just waiting for Series 10 now, because I can't really see that much of a difference between 7, 8, and 9. It's actually pretty wild. But to go back to something that we just mentioned, I feel like Apple this year decided to focus even more on the software experience because they have changed up certain ways with how you interact with your watch whenever it comes to watchOS 10, and I'm actually a fan of how this works. So we'll start with things like swipe gestures. Swiping down still shows your notifications. Swiping up now shows you a new widget panel, which is interesting. If I can be totally honest with you, I never actually used this feature. And pressing the digital crown brings up a new app grid menu. So previously you had this gigantic app grid. Of course you could change it to list if you didn't like it, but you just had all of your apps kind of in this free flowing space. You could use your finger to navigate all around. And if I could be real with you, I kind of felt like it was always difficult to find apps I might have been looking for. Now when you push the digital crown, it brings up all your apps, but you use the crown to scroll up and down this menu that shows all of your apps still as little bubbles. I like how this works much better than before, and I feel like it's easier to find certain applications that you might be looking for. As far as the side button goes, that now brings up your quick settings toggles, which used to be a swipe up from the bottom. So I feel like that one might take some folks to get, some time to get used to. I actually like this as well. The only time I ever swiped up from the bottom was to turn on theater mode. So having a button on my Ultra or my Series 9 just dedicated to quick settings toggles, I feel like makes a whole bunch of sense. And double tapping the digital crown still brings up your recent apps. As far as performance goes for watchOS 10, I think it's fantastic on the Series 9s, but Apple's historically been really good with making sure that their software works on older generation models as well. So I'm willing to bet watchOS 10 works really well on a Series 7, a Series 8, and of course it works well on the latest and greatest hardware. And of course, much like basically everything else with the Series 9, pricing has remained relatively consistent as well. So depending on the size you're going for, you're looking at either $399 or $429 for the aluminum models. And if you want cellular, you're gonna have to add $100 to each of those price points. Now, if you wanna bump up to stainless steel, you're looking at $699 and $749 respectively, depending on which size you go for. And much like the Ultra 2 review, I mentioned in that one that if you already have the Ultra 1, it's probably not worth the upgrade. And I feel like the same holds true for Series 9 as well. If you have Series 7 or Series 8, of course, getting the new watch will be cool. You'll notice a couple of small tweaks here and there, but I don't know if it's worth the cost of the upgrade. Now, if you have something like Series 6, it might be worth it. Or let's say you do have a watch that's a couple of years older and your battery life might not be that great. And you can, jump into a new watch for the new battery. Apple's touting how carbon neutral their new watches are as well. So that's a pretty cool thing for the environment too. But overall, I think if you can hold out one more year, I'm hoping to see Apple do something really big with the watch, because next year it's going to be Watch 10. And Apple did a lot of cool stuff for the iPhone 10. So holding out hope, maybe, I hope. But as always, if you enjoyed the review, consider hitting that like and subscribe button down below. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the Watch Series 9. The pink color is dope. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. Across the board. Entry level, 400. Well, that's why it threw me off. Aluminum Series 9, 400. Bro, why do I keep saying 429?
128.
And if you want to go stainless steel, it's $699 and $759.
No way.
There's no way, bro. Too many numbers to remember, man. Too many numbers to remember.